Imagine being the host of a show watched by millions on live television, and suddenly, your next guest, a rock legend, walks in and turns your world upside down. What would you do? Well, that's exactly what happened when Gene Simmons, the iconic frontman of Kiss, stepped onto the set of the talk show, and what followed was a confrontation so intense that it left everyone in shock.
How's your back, Gene?
My back is good. My schmeckle, not so much.
That's very nice of you to joke about.
It's a joke. Where are you going? What are you doing?
Here, these back on. It suits you.
Thanks for the question.
Over how this poor Jewish boy from Israel fled to New York with his mother and had dreams of starting his own rock band that would take over the world.
To really get the scoop on Gene Simmons, the face-painting rock legend from Kiss, you've got to dive into his life story. Born on August 25, 1949 in Haifa, Israel, Gene's early years were a far cry from the glitz and glam of rock stardom. When Gene was 8, his mom moved them to New York City, a huge cultural leap. But it was in NYC's vibrant melting pot that Gene's love for music truly took off. Inspired by rock and roll icons like the Beatles and Elvis Presley, young Gene picked up a guitar and started forming bands, honing his craft and carving out his unique style. Incredible, right? Let's move to the early 70s. Gene co-founded a band called Wicked Lester, which eventually morphed into the legendary Kiss. Alongside Paul Stanley, Ace Frehley, and Peter Criss, Gene helped create one of rock's most iconic groups, famous for their electrifying stage shows, face paint, and hits like Rock and Roll All Night and Detroit Rock City. Gene's onstage persona, the Demon, perfectly captured the power and theatrics of Kiss's music. But did Gene stop at music? Oh no, not Gene, he kept going. He went on to become a successful actor, author, and entrepreneur. His business ventures and TV appearances have now cemented his status as a great entertainment boss. And as if that wasn't enough, Gene's writing chops got major recognition when he snagged the Best Original Screenplay Award at the 2005 Beverly Hills Film Festival for Detroit Rock City, a film inspired by his wild ride in the music world. I'm guessing you can agree with me that he's indeed a rock star.
But then neither you nor I are anti-semantic. The notion is plain. And I read a book called Myth of Monogamy, which actually...
This story kicks off on a regular day at National Public Radio, where Terry Gross, renowned for her composed and probing interviews, was gearing up to talk to none other than Gene Simmons, the legendary frontman of Kiss. From the get-go, it was clear these two were like oil and water. Would Terry be able to rein in Gene's wild personality, or would Gene bulldoze through the conversation? Things started on a rocky note when the Kiss bassist took issue with how Gross pronounced his Israeli birth name, Chaim Witz. The name didn't come out through a Gentile mouth, so it didn't quite have the flavor. It came out bland, he said. Gross, who is also Jewish, followed up with a correction. Well, it's not a Gentile mouth. And with that, the stage was set. Gene's hard tone hinted at what was to come. Terry continued with some soft questions about Gene's music and his iconic makeup. But it wasn't long before the conversation took a sharp turn. Simmons started talking about money, claiming he had a lot of it, and he also made a controversial comment about women having the option of selling their bodies as a source of income. Gross was taken aback. She called him weird and asked him how much money he had. He straight up replied, "Gee, a whole lot more than NPR. There's a big world out there. You should read books to get the scope of it and not be delusional." Ouch, the interview got even more bizarre when Gross brought up the codpiece Simmons wears on stage. Simmons claimed it holds in his manhood. Gross laughed, but Simmons went on to assert that if someone wanted to welcome him warmly, they would also have to welcome him with open legs. Gross didn't miss a beat calling out Simmons for the comment. That's a really obnoxious thing to say. The interview wrapped up on a tense note, with Gross clearly getting more than she bargained for. You'd think Terry would lose it, given Gene's relentless provocations, but she maintained her calm. If I were Terry, I'd definitely need a check-in with my therapist after that. Have there been instances where TV hosts couldn't keep their cool with Gene? Well, let's find out.
No. Never played the victim.
No, never tugged on anybody's shirt.
Gene Simmons is no stranger to controversy, and his bluntness has led to plenty of TV drama. First off is his iconic showdown with Piers Morgan. In an interview, Simmons asked Morgan what he thought about gun control, and it's like watching two bulls in a china shop. Both had strong opinions, and neither was ready to back down. Simmons doesn't hold back for once, and his bold, often controversial takes keep viewers on the edge of their seats. Whether he's challenging hosts or making audacious statements, Gene knows how to turn up the heat. These fiery interactions are why audiences keep coming back for more. If you love watching unfiltered, raw conversations that push boundaries, Simmons' interviews are pure gold. Do you also know he's banned from Fox News? Oh yes, banned!
Has been banned for life from Fox News, according.
In 2017, Simmons was permanently banned from Fox News after a series of inappropriate actions during his visit. According to reports, Simmons barged into a staff meeting, exposed his chest, and made crude jokes about pedophilia and Michael Jackson. He hit two female staffers on the head with his new book, On Power, and told them to sue him. Now that's the wild Gene everyone knows. These actions led to Fox News labeling him with a "Do Not Admit" tag at their headquarters and then banning him for life. Can you imagine the shock of the staffers witnessing such a crazy series of events? How traumatizing that would be. It's no wonder Fox News took such drastic action. Let's not even get into Gene Simmons' fights with other musicians, writers, and industry icons. Gene Simmons really stirred the pot when he took aim at Madonna's musical talents. He didn't hold back, calling her horrible and insisting she's not a real musician. According to him, Madonna's success is more about her image and theatrics than her actual musical abilities. Typical of Gene. This sparked a huge uproar among Madonna fans and critics alike. People were quick to jump in and defend Madonna, pointing out that she's been in the industry for a long time and that she constantly evolves with her music. They argued that her impact on pop culture says a lot about her musical chops, regardless of what Gene Simmons thinks. That's not all. Gene has got a reputation for stirring up fights, and he does the same with David Lee Roth. Gene Simmons and David Lee Roth's clash was like a clash of titans in the rock world. These two larger-than-life personalities from Kiss and Van Halen, respectively, had a rocky relationship that often spilled into public view. Things really heated up in the mid-2000s when David Lee Roth was rumored to be rejoining Van Halen. Simmons publicly criticized Roth, questioning his ability to still deliver vocally and claiming that the reunion wouldn't live up to fans' expectations.
The caption on all of these photos is Roth to Simmons. Literally 18 times David Lee Roth posted.
Roth fired back with his trademark wit and sarcasm, dismissing Simmons' comments and defending his own legacy. Well, everyone's got to stand for themselves when it comes to Gene, but wait, if Gene doesn't even respect the dead, why do we think he's going to respect the living? Gene Simmons made headlines when he criticized Prince after his passing in 2016. He called Prince's death pathetic, suggesting it was due to alleged drug use and lack of self-care. Really, Gene? This sparked a huge uproar and backlash from fans and the media alike, slamming Simmons for his insensitive remarks during such a sensitive time. In the end,
But that's okay. This ain't about me. People got upset. But as far as I'm concerned, and the sadness of it is, I never said that about Prince. But you can't.
Simmons issued an apology, but the incident left a mark on his reputation. You might think Gene Simmons can't be confronted, but the Black Lips tackled him right in the middle of his live Q&A session. The members of Black Lips, known for their wild antics, crashed Gene's event out of the blue. They caused quite a stir, disrupting the flow of the Q&A and injecting their trademark chaos into the scene. In response to the unexpected interruption, Gene Simmons fired back with what some are calling a racist "yo mama" retort. What are your thoughts on Simmons' brashness? Does it add to his attraction, or does it sometimes go too far? One thing we'd agree on is he has gotten away with it that one too many times. And that's a wrap on Gene Simmons. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more captivating tales.